Okay, we can begin. This is the speaking test of the International English Language Testing System taking place at Ross IELTS Academy. The candidate is Ava Beheshti. The candidate number is 4459544. The examiner is Samson Sees. Examiner number 443533. Good afternoon. My name is Samson. Would you please tell me your full name?
Yes, my name is Ava Beheshti.
Wonderful. And can I see your identification,
Yes,
please?
sure.
That's wonderful. Thank you very much. So, in the first part of the exam, I will ask you some personal questions. First, I'd like to talk to you about your job. What is your job?
Currently, actually, I'm a student and I have an occupation. I'm working as a German teacher in a language academy.
Okay, and what responsibilities do you have there at work?
Actually, our liability consists of teaching students and supports them if they have some problem in some languages. Moreover, I'm responsible for the income of the other workers in my institute.
Okay. And if you had the chance, would you change this job?
Yes, actually, the salary of teaching in any language, I mean English, German, or French, is not so hectic. So if I can change something, I would rather to change the income of the co-workers in my language academy.
Okay. Now let's move on to talk about evenings. What do you do in the evenings?
Actually, my whole day consists of study and working, and I don't have so much time in order to allocate to my entertainment or hobby. But if I find some time, I would rather to spend it with my family, like watching films or going out or dine and eat something at a restaurant.
Okay, and now do you prefer to spend evenings with family or friends?
Actually, because I don't have so much time in order to spend with my family, I would rather to spend this kind of time much more with my family rather than my friends. And I would rather to just allocate sometimes at the weekends to my friends.
Okay. So, do you ever work or study in the evenings?
Currently, I don't work in the evenings, but about 2 years ago, I was working from morning to the evening. So yes, I just worked at the evening about 2 years ago.
Okay, good. So let's now talk about family and friends. Do you spend much time with your family?
Yes, actually, I'm completely at home these days, especially in quarantine, because we don't allowed to go out in this corona pandemic. So we don't have any other choice but spending our time with our close-knit family.
Okay, and do you prefer spending time with family or friends in total?
Actually, at the weekend, I would rather to spend my time with my friends because actually I see my friends once in a moon, so I don't have so much time in order to spend with each other in a cafe or a restaurant. Because of that, maybe on Tuesday, I think I've just spent about 2 hours with my friends.
Right. And are you still friends with people from your childhood?
Actually, no. I don't have any chance in order to be more in contact with them because, in my opinion, these people really just allocated to my childhood, and we can't just continue in order to be in contact and meet each other more.
And do you hope to make new friends during these times now?
Yes, of course, if I have an opportunity in order to find some friends which are completely close to me, I mean mentally or physically, yes, why not? I would rather to make some new friends.
Okay, that's great. So let's move on to the next part. Now, I'm going to give you a topic and I'd like you to talk about it for up to 2 minutes. Before you talk, you'll have 1 minute to think about what you're going to say, and you can make notes if you wish. Do you understand?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, great. So I'm just going to give you a piece of paper. There's your pen.
Okay.
And this is your topic. Describe a historical building you have visited. So there's your cue card. You may have a take down notes for 1 minute if you like.
Thank you so much.
Okay, you may start speaking for the
Okay.
2 minutes. Go ahead.
About 2 years ago, I was going to Germany with my friends, but actually I don't have so much time in order to manage this travel. Because of that, one of my friends just did me a favor and manage our itinerary. So we go to Germany, and we have visited so much attractions like churches, mosque, and some stuff like that. But the most interesting thing that I remember very well is about one church which is located in the middle of Germany, and it was built about 2,000 years ago. So it was lavish and magnificent and dramatically huge. When we just went through it, a man was responsible for explaining about the history and the tradition of this church. So we were completely and well informed about these kinds of tradition, about the religious habits and the people who were living at the past in that church. And the reason why I remember it very well, because it was just a part of our tour, and we should just visit it. Actually, another thing that I remember very well is a hotel. We didn't have any other chance but staying in a city hotel in the 3rd days of our travel. So that was completely not safe and not appropriate for 3 females, which consist of me and other 2 of my friends. So actually that was so interesting because I didn't have before seen a city and an unsafe hotel. Moreover, we just went through the other attractions like the shoppings, which are very old.
Okay, thank you very much. That's the end of the 2 minutes. So let's move on to the next part. I'll take back your days. Thanks very much. It's wonderful. Okay, so we've been talking about a historical building that you have visited, and now I'd like to ask you some questions related to this. Now, let's consider monuments and historic places. Are there any historical buildings in your hometown?
Actually, yes, in my hometown, which is Tehran, we have so much historical buildings, and like we have Golestan Tower, which is located at the middle of the city, and it's completely popular. Every year, so much tourists just poured into this location in order to visit it.
Okay. And do people in your country often visit historical buildings?
Actually, it depends on person. I think some kinds of people like me don't have any character in order to spend time in order to visit some monuments and some historical buildings. For example, in my opinion, it's look like just squandering time to visit historical buildings, but other people see it as an entertainment, and they are really engrossed in visiting these kinds of attractions.
Well, and do children like to go to that kind of place, do you think?
In my country, actually, I don't think so. Children are not really interested in visiting these kinds of attractions. They would rather to spend time with their family, with their friends. and just play a game outdoors and indoors. Because in my opinion, I think they don't have enough science in order to understand the history and the tradition behind these attractions.
Okay, and do you think people who damage historical relics should be put in prison?
Not in all situations. I'm not completely agree with this statement. In some situations, yes, when they're just continuing to demolish this attraction, so they don't have any other choice but going to jail. But on the other side, I would rather to say it's going to be better when we just show them a in an advice to just inform them what they can do and what are the damage that they can lead to these attractions.
Right, cool. Now, what would people in your country agree to using government funds to preserve historical buildings?
Yes, actually, because my people, I mean, all the inhabitants which are currently living in my hometown don't have any high financial ability in order to allocate to just protect these historical things. So I think, yeah, we don't have any other choice but getting help from government in order to help us economical to preserve these kinds of historical buildings.
Right, and how often do you visit historical buildings in your city?
Actually, in summer, I have so much time in order to allocate to my entertainments, and I think one of the most interesting parts in my hobbies is to visiting so much historical attraction, not only in my hometown, but also in other cities like suburbs or rural areas, which is completely interesting and dramatically lavish for me.
Right, and would you travel the world to visit more historical buildings, do you think?
Up to now, unfortunately, I don't have any time to just go to another country in order to visit historical things which are completely interesting. As I mentioned before, one of the most interesting that I've seen before is just a church which is located in Germany. But other than up to now, actually, I don't find this opportunity to visit the other historical buildings.
Okay, thank you very much. That's the end of the speaking test.
Thank you.
You can now take a deep breath. How do you feel?
Not so well.
Why not?
I don't know. I feel that I can speak better, but
Yeah.
I've completely lost all words which I have remembered before.
Oh, that maybe. Do you think stress was stress related?
Yes.
Maybe. Oh, don't be stressed. It's honestly unnecessary. Don't be stressed. Okay, so I'm going to give you your band score. We'll see where you're at just with this situation, and then I'll give you some feedback on the 4 criteria, and let's see how you get along. So I'm just going to add up your score there. 1 second. Sorry, I'm right
No
with
problem.
you. Just make sure I do this properly. Okay. Right, so I've got some good news for you. Actually, right now we're looking at a 7.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh
and
my God.
that's an overall 7.
Okay.
You know, considering are you happy with that?
Thank
You
you.
seem happy, but you can increase that by you can easily get an 8, in my opinion. If it wasn't the stress getting in the way, maybe. Well, I mean, there are some issues. Maybe we can go through them. 7, that's a pretty good score.
Thank you so much.
So let's have a look. The Fluency and Coherence, we'll start having a look at that. So this was, I thought, one of your strongest points, and I think that's obvious to quite a lot of examiners if they were watching this. So the flow was very strong. You know, the way you were getting into it, you sounded very conversational. You were giving reasons for your answers, and you were elaborating most of the time. Even this could have been even can even improve that. If you can even elaborate a little bit more with the answers, especially in part 3. I mean, I think maybe it was just one. You gave one slightly short answer in part 3. I mean, part 1 they're sweet and simple questions with mostly simple answers. Then again, you could still elaborate maybe a little bit more in part 1, but mostly part 3. That's the part where it's more of a conversation between the examiner and the candidate. what I think you could do as well is maybe slow down a little bit. Maybe, you know, because you do have a strong command of English, that doesn't mean you need to rush. You can slow down and you know, take it easy a little bit, and maybe that would, because I'm going to get to the grammatical range and accuracy, and that, I think speed has a lot to do with that. So if for fluency and coherence, I would say the main point here is to maybe slow down a little bit. But I mean, I didn't really have any problem with you, particularly in this case. It's just a matter of speed. You were very coherent, very fluent. Vocabulary, again, very strong. You had a good varied variety of words you were using, and they were complex and very well related to the topic. So I didn't really have any problem with you, the way you were using your vocabulary. I would just carry on doing that. That's a very good thing. So not too many problems there at all. Grammatical range and accuracy. Now, this is the part where the speed, I think, was affecting, you know, your score a little bit here. This is the point. So with the rushing, you had a few grammatical errors, and I'm sure these can be fixed if you slow down maybe a little bit. So you had, we don't allow to. So we're not allowed to. Mm-hmm. So that's a little error there. Rather to, and then you went on to the next one. So rather go into your sentence. I mean, that clause is probably not necessary. Once in a moon, I think it's good to use these kind of expressions, but completed. Once in a blue moon. I mean, that would have sounded natural rather than once in a moon. At one point you said, I think when you were talking about a variety of buildings, some church, I think some churches, you know, obviously it's plural, which consist, I think it was, which consist of, or which consisted, I think you were trying to say, because that's in the past tense, and you said which consists or which consisted. So it's just these little grammatical errors, I think that was the thing, and that's because of your speed. Your command of English is strong enough to fix all of this. All you have to do is, in my opinion, slow down, because your volume was good. I think you were expressing yourself, you know, you were assertive enough to speak loudly, and you were very conversational. So it's this part mostly. And also, let's look a little bit at your pronunciations here. So you had visit instead of visit, so try to, you know, pronounce it correctly. Like we always say, accent doesn't matter. It's just that the words have to be pronounced correctly. Everyone has their own unique accent. If you're taking IELTS tests, you know, everyone's going to have their own unique accent from their country. So the best thing to do is just to focus on, for you right now, definitely grammatical range and accuracy and pronunciation with these. You know, you had a few pronunciation misplacements there. So visit, you said at one point, because you rushed, you said attrasion instead of attraction, and that was just because you rushed. You do not have a pronunciation problem or a fluency and coherence problem. I don't think your grammar has too much of an issue either. It was the speed that was sending you a little bit off balance and maybe brought down your score a little bit, but still 7, I mean, it's a good score we're looking at, and you can easily increase it to an 8 by simply, in your case, slowing down and maybe, you know, focusing a little bit on the grammar there, because like I said, the fluency and coherence, it was amazing. You sounded interesting. You kept the flow going. It was just maybe slightly short answers here and there, and again the speed. Vocabulary, it was wonderful. If I were you, you wouldn't need to focus much on the vocab. So it was mostly grammatical range and accuracy, a few pronunciation situations there. Do you have any questions for me?
No, thank you so much. Thank you.
Is that right?
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay, so thanks for coming in then.
Thank you so much.
I wish you best of luck.
Thank you.
See.